Mr. President, thank you for unifying and inspiring a vision of a stronger, fairer, safer future for all, for our children. Your extraordinary leadership has made this glorious day possible. That's an applause line. Jill was applauding.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, both of you.
Today, the business of our work is for the Council to report on the work that has occurred since our last meeting across these areas. We will today also discuss the work yet ahead, the work we must still do to continue to move forward.
What are you, retarded?
Would you call the border secure?
I think that there is no question that we have to do what the President and I asked Congress to do. Is the first request we made. Pass a bill to create a pathway to citizenship. The border is secure.
The border is secure.
Government data showing there were more than 220,000 encounters with migrants along the border last month, the highest number in 22 years.
We had another massive single group of well over 100 illegal immigrants crossing into Eagle Pass here. This was the fourth day in a row that we have seen this.
The border is secure.
Are you fucking retarded? The hell's the matter with you?
In 2020, the American people put their trust in Democrats. And over these last 18 months, Democrats have delivered.
Excuse me, the fuck did you just say?
Let me rephrase that. Over these last 18 months, Democrats have delivered big time.
Are you retarded?
How fucking retarded are you?
You fucking retard! Okay, you're listening there to President Biden at the White House. He's celebrating the passage of the Inflation Reduction Act. He says that he's been fighting Big Pharma for decades. But there is this unfortunate split screen right now with the Dow taking a total beating, down more than 1,200 points. And so it feels like it's hard to be celebratory for some people in the crowd.
Well, no shit.
January 6, 2021 will never be forgotten, an infamous day in American history. MAGA Republicans descended upon the Capitol, engaged in an insurrection. They occupied the Capitol. 5 people were killed, hundreds injured, including hundreds of Capitol Hill police officers attacked and bludgeoned. And people on the local level at affected school board meetings, they won't forget the MAGA Republicans descending on their school board meetings after January 6th, like January 6th.
That is without a doubt the dumbest thing I've ever heard. You are a fucking idiot.
It was a coordinated attack happening across the country. Americans won't forget about it. School board members, teachers, administrators subjected to violence, threats of violence, harassment, intimidation.
You fucking retarded scumbag.
You don't have to go to hell. You're in hell. This is hell. This is hell. This is hell.
Because democracy basically means government by the people, of the people, for the people. But the people are retarded.
Then strangled them, and finally dismembered their bodies.
Right.
Then do and homelessness and all that.
And now, the voice you've been waiting for.
There is a secret song at the center of the world, and its sound is like razors through flesh. I'm here to turn up the volume.
I'm kind of retarded.
What would you say the difference is between being awake and being woke? I like to describe it like this. You're having a dream, say a nightmare. Maybe you're falling from the sky and then boom, you wake up in your bed. And you think to yourself, wow, that was a crazy dream, but I'm awake now. I've woken up. But the only thing is, you didn't. You're still in the dream. You only dreamt that you woke up. And you're still just in a hypnotic, trance-like state, merely responding to external stimuli. That's woke. That false belief that you've figured things out, you've figured out how the world really works, when really you've just bought into a different level of bullshit. That's not to say that everybody that identifies as being awake is right where the woke are wrong. The difference there lies in that people that are awake are generally still open to receiving new and changing information. Whereas once somebody has become woke, you can't tell them shit. If you even try to, they just basically stick their fingers in their ears like a child. And there's no self-awareness, no lucidity, no critical thinking. Whereas someone who is awake would go, hey, wait a minute. My 7-year-old child that I brought to this supposedly family-friendly event is now on a fucking stripper pole. What the actual fuck? Or maybe, hey, perhaps leaving a bunch of bottles of piss everywhere and dumping them on ourselves isn't the best way to protest anything. Could it be that we're not making the convincing argument that we think we are? Or how are parts of the Great Barrier Reef at the record highest amount of coral in 36 years when 4 years ago they were saying that global warming was killing the motherfucker? And how are they telling us what's supposedly gonna happen decades from now when they can't even predict months from now what kind of hurricane season we're gonna have? And as more and more people are waking up and seeing that we're being lied to and conditioned on a massive scale, there's also more and more people that are delving even deeper into this cult-like thinking. It's kind of like a tale of two cities. And how does this play out? Nobody really knows the answer to that. But at times it's pretty fucking entertaining to watch. Take this Alex Stein guy for example. If you're on Twitter, his handle is AlexStein99. This dude really cracks me the fuck up. A few weeks back, he had that thing with AOC where he called her a big booty Latina and she acted like it was the most egregious thing ever later. This past week, he caught up with a couple other people right outside of the Capitol. One of them was Eric Swalwell.
Eric, is this Fang Fang the Chinese spy, Eric? Remember when you slept with that Chinese spy, Eric? Why don't you ever talk about that, Fang Fang? Remember you're banging Fang Fang? Did she give you anal? People are saying that she gave you an insertion. Is that true? This is the guy's banging Chinese spies. Nobody investigates you, Eric. Why is that? Nobody investigates this guy banging Chinese spies like it's no big deal.
I love that. It's hilarious because it's true. He was banging a Chinese spy. A little bang bang with Fang Fang, huh? Little Miss Yum Yum. It's funny though, you go to his Wikipedia page and you don't even find a mention of the allegations of that. I wonder why that is.
Anyone? 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 You? Anyone? You?
He also caught up with that piece of shit neocon Dan Crenshaw.
Dan, I'm with the one, the only. I've run into the man. The one, the only, Dan Crenshaw, Eye Patch McCain.
Fucking Eye Patch McCain, I love that
Dave
shit.
Portnoy saying he wants me to fail. F me. Why'd you retweet all that? I'm going to put it in the video, but why'd you retweet all that?
What do you think, Alex?
I know, but why don't you like me? We're both from Texas. I can help you out. You're just not America first. You're a globalist. You're giving more money to Ukraine.
You assaulted a 65-year-old woman.
I didn't touch you. You're such a liar. We have it on tape. See, this guy's still lying. I bet McCain's out here still lying. You're so full of it, dude. That's why you're gonna lose, dude. I know you don't know. You don't think that. It's gonna happen, guys. This guy's a traitor.
Are you an adult?
You're a globalist. Yeah, I'm an adult calling you out. You lost your eye for weapons of mass destruction that didn't exist, and you don't even call it out. Weapons of mass destruction that didn't exist, bud. You know that. Let me hear you say something about that.
Okay, from now on, henceforth, he shall be known as Eye Patch McCain. That is fucking brilliant. And this dude who is supposedly a Navy SEAL, they're trained to deal with being captured, interrogated, and even tortured. And this dude gets so ruffled by somebody merely talking shit to him on the street that he tries to swat his fucking phone out his hand, which is assault, by the way. But it's like, really? But you're a fucking Navy SEAL, right? Yeah. I met quite a few Navy SEALs when I was stationed in Virginia Beach, and none of them were so thin-skinned and so bitch-made as this guy fucking acts. But I love this dude, though. He goes after the pieces of shit on both sides of the aisle. Somebody else that cracks me the fuck up is my governor, Ron DeSantis. I love this fucking guy. Lately I'd been talking about how the Texas governor had been busing migrants up to New York City and DC and Chicago and these sanctuary cities. It's like, okay, yeah, you want to be a sanctuary city here. No reason that you shouldn't be able to partake in some of this cultural enrichment. He even sent a busload to right outside of Kamala Harris's fucking house. And that was a pretty kick-ass move. Like, here you go, Madam Border Czar. The border is secure, huh? But DeSantis, not to be outdone, he said, hey Greg, hold my beer. I'm sending the 2 fucking plane loads to Martha's Vineyard. One of the richest, most fancy schmancy places in the whole fucking country. And it's an island, so you can't just shoo them away or bust them into the nearby suburbs the way Chicago Mayor Beetlejuice did. Of course they did. Within 2 days, get rid of them. Places like El Paso have been getting overrun with thousands and thousands and thousands of people every fucking day and saying, we need help, we're overwhelmed. But all of a sudden you have 50 fucking people on Martha's Vineyard and they mobilize within a day and a half and fly them out to a military base. It's amazing how quickly they can act to do something whenever it's a problem for the super rich. And then they turn around and talk about how, oh, DeSantis's Martha's Vineyard stunt showed his cruelty. But cruelty to who? Cruelty to the immigrants? How cruel to send them to one of the wealthiest parts of the entire country. Yeah, it'd be much more humane to force them to stay in a less affluent area where the people that live there are barely paying their own fucking bills. I gotta tip my hat to DeSantis for this brilliant fucking move. Showing them for the NIMBY fucking hypocrites they are. And I hear next he's gonna be flying them to Delaware. Maybe Rehoboth Beach, where the president's vacation house is. You know, where he spends pretty much half his goddamn time on vacation. Brilliant. Please consider liking, subscribing, sharing this video, or leaving a comment. Because every time you do nothing, Vladimir Putin will shoot another puppy. There was reports this week that Vladimir Putin survived an assassination attempt, but I also saw reports where the Kremlin was claiming that it didn't actually happen, so who even knows. But right after that, he did go and meet with Xi, and then to India to meet with Modi, and he didn't seem very rattled. He seemed pretty resolved to me, and I've been saying for months now, they haven't been going full throttle. They have been pretty reserved and pretty patient with the way they've tried to conduct this war, and that's basically what he said. But now you've got escalations where, I mean, regardless of whether or not this was an assassination attempt, I wouldn't doubt it. He claimed back in 2017 that he had 5 attempts on his life, and that was 5 years ago. And let's not forget that a few weeks ago, somebody tried to kill one of his closest advisors with a car bomb, but instead of getting him, got his daughter. His daughter borrows his car, and then boom, it explodes and bursts into flames, and she dies right in front of him. If this goes on much longer, it's inevitable that there's going to be some kind of blowback that affects us as the population. So far, we've escaped most of the repercussions, unlike Europe. They're going to be in deep shit this winter without that Russian oil and gas. And when there is that inevitable retaliation that causes pain for the pampered and spoiled population in this country, I wonder how they're going to react. They're going to want some fucking answers, and these half-wits that we call our leaders aren't going to be able to provide them. Just imagine constituents trying to get answers out of this Fetterman guy if he wins the Pennsylvania race to represent them in the Senate. I had said before, I'm not going to make fun of this guy because he had a stroke, but is that really who you want to be your representative, to be your leader in the Senate? This guy makes the president look like a smooth talker. And I'm not making fun of him. I mean, he had a stroke. It happens. I wonder if maybe he was taking too many naps, because according to CNN, that's a possible cause now, right? But let's take a look back before he had his stroke, say 9 years ago, when he pulled a shotgun on a black jogger because he mistakenly thought he was a criminal.
And I heard approximately a dozen or more what clearly sounded like assault rifle gunshots go off.
Mayor John Fetterman says he rushed his son inside, called 911, and took off in his truck after a masked man in black he saw running. But Chris Mayeras, the man Fetterman confronted, turns out to be an innocent jogger who police say had no weapon.
There wasn't any assault rifle shots. It was bottle rockets behind the library.
Mayor Fetterman did have a weapon.
A 20-gauge shotgun under the back seat of my truck, which I pulled out and I showed to just say, look, we're going to wait here and we're going to get this all sorted out when the police arrive.
Mayeras and the mayor tell very different stories. He says Fetterman
followed me into North Braddock and pulled a shotgun and aimed it at my chest.
Did you point the shotgun at him?
No, I did not. I pointed it, away so that he would see that I was armed, but I did not point it at him. In fact, I didn't even have a round chambered or remove the safety at that point.
For both men, it was frightening. North Braddock's police chief says his officers tell him the shotgun incident was over when they arrived. Mayeras says that's not true. The police tried to laugh it off.
I mean, there's a mayor with a shotgun and 6 other cops surrounded me. What else can I do but this?
I believe I did the right thing, but I may have broken the law during the course of it, and I'm certainly not above the law if I did. But what I did in a split second and out of concern as the father and the mayor.
He's trying to make it like it's okay. He's trying to justify what he did.
I find it hard to believe that that guy represents Pennsylvania's best and brightest, but okay. And meanwhile, the dipshits out there in Illinois just passed the Safety Act, a very Orwellian name as per usual. It's being referred to as the Purge Law. What does it do? Hear for yourself.
I can't even begin to tell you how dangerous this act is. First, it was passed in the middle of the night with 40 minutes to read an 800-page bill, which is unacceptable. As of January 1st, 2023, the following things will go into effect, and people need to be aware of this. It abolishes cash bail for almost every offense. This includes, but isn't limited to, kidnapping, armed robbery, second-degree murder, drug-induced homicide, aggravated DUI, threatening a public official, and aggravated fleeing and eluding. Offenders released on electronic monitoring have to be in violation for 48 hours before law enforcement can act. They could almost drive to Alaska before we can even look for them. It denies victims their constitutional rights. And keep this in mind, businesses and homeowners. Officers will no longer be able to remove trespassers from your residence or your businesses. Someone could decide to live in your shed, and all we can do is give them a ticket.
I mean, it's not exactly like the Purge. It doesn't legalize these things. It just says, oh, well, you murder somebody or kidnap somebody, we're just going to let you out without you even having to pay bail. And you'll sign a little paper saying you'll totally come back for your trial, right? So now if you commit second-degree murder, and eventually you're going to have a trial and go to prison for it, you're just not going to give a fuck. Might as well get in that fun while the getting is good. And they call this the Safety Act. Now, these people are real geniuses. Of course, no one compares to our most esteemed, most vote-gettingest president ever, Joey Skidmarks.
Hey, Poopy Pants! What's new?
Watching him is like living in a never-ending fever dream. Every time he gets up on a stage to speak at a podium, he can't seem to find his way off and has to wander around. He can't seem to spell basic-ass words.
Republicans have awakened a powerful force in this nation. Women. W-O-W. No, I'm not joking. Women. W-O-W. It happens to be, as Barack says, a three-letter word. Jobs. J-O-B-S. Jobs. A three-letter word. Jobs. J-O-B-S. Jobs.
And he thinks he was in the Senate for over 700 years.
I say some of my colleagues have been around how long we've been fighting pharma, how long we've been taking on these interests. From the time I got to the Senate 720 years ago. I'm serious. Think about it.
If ever there was a time that it should be totally obvious that these people are not really our decision makers, they're fronts, they're sock puppets, they're figureheads, it should be now. There was even this video that came out of them having a little cabinet meeting without the president even there, and when Joe just happens to stumble into the room, they all of a sudden stop.
State and local levels need to be at the table. And these partnerships will continue to exist. I'm going to stop talking right now. And I'm done.
Speaking of partners.
You see that? As soon as the dude looks over and sees Joe's head popping in the door, he goes, and I'm going to
These partnerships will continue to exist. I'm going to stop talking right now. And I'm done.
Yeah, but that's totally the leader of the free world, right? Yeah, he's definitely in charge. And that's how you end up with a primetime presidential interview last night with Biden saying that we'll defend Taiwan with U.S. troops. But then the White House just backtracks and says, well, he didn't really mean that. I mean, sure, he might have said that, but it's not like the president actually makes decisions on U.S. foreign policy, right? Right? Well, not anymore, I guess. And in one final piece of news, this past week the CEO of FedEx came out and warned that, and I'm paraphrasing here, but he basically said,
Well, we're boned.
He warned that we're about to go into a worldwide recession. He's not just the CEO of a major company, he's the CEO of a company that will be able to see early indications of a massive worldwide slowdown. So it's starting to look more and more like the people that have been sitting there trying to say that the worst of everything is behind us, they might have been smoking a little too much of that hopium. Slancha.
In this world is my balls and my word, and I don't break them for no one. You understand? So say good night to the bad guy. So say good night to the bad guy. So say good night to the bad guy. Say good night to the bad guy. Come on. Come on. me! I told you! Don't fuck with me! I told you! Don't fuck with me! You stupid fuck! Look at you now! Look at you now!